Your turn, Yugi boy.
What is up, guys? This is Lintheo coming at you with an updated deck profile of my Zing deck, Post-BOSH. That is right, Breakers of Shadows is now officially released, and I thought I would bring you the updated version. So there are a couple of changes in here, so we will go through and I will show you. So starting us off, we have 3 Jiatsu, the Darkness of Zing. This is one of your main cards. Obviously, you use him for his main discard effect. First turn, you know, if you do go first, and it is quite beneficial to go first in this deck, the version that I am running. This is the pure version. You want to get Jiatsu and, excuse me, you want to be able to make sure that you can get, you know, a decent boss monster out. One of the best ones first turn is Yazi, simply because it's a targetable card. That is a pretty big attack and defense, and you know, it's just overall generally a good card, depending on how you go into it. Normally I'll use Bixi and Bian, because then it means that they are unaffected by traps and battle. So that is that. Then we have Chai Wen. This card's just really beneficial for the deck, really good. You really do need him. He's level 1, so you can use him and Bian to go into a kind of just unkillable Herald of Arclight, because you know that's really important in this format. It's really nice to be able to control. This is the type of deck that you want to control with, and just in general is really good. And being able to reborn himself when another Zing is destroyed is pretty decent. 3 Suwani. 3 Suwani is here simply because he's one of your main beaters, and also getting the extra 500 attack and defense on a buffed monster is pretty goddamn good. Bringing things like Baxia up to a 2/8 3/2 attack monster is just so good. So like, he's really important in the deck, and I really do like playing him. Bixi is actually a pretty important card, but I'm wondering if I might cut one of him. I know that might be quite a crazy thing to say, but the problem is a Solemn Strike is running around in the format, and you know, Bixi doesn't help you. Bixi doesn't help at all with that, because you know you're negating the summon, so it is still affectable by counter traps as such. However, it is still a really good card, and if you go up against rogue decks and such that have heavy back row, it's just brutal. If you manage to get a monster out with using this card, so good. 2 Bian. Bian is here simply because it's a nice little beater, you know, level 3 as well. And also the invulnerability to being destroyed by battle is really, really good. As I said earlier, using Herald of Arclight to go in, well, using this card to go into Herald of Arclight is pretty good. So you can slow your opponent down quite a lot and control the duel. Necessary Evil, unfortunately, here, just because it's kind of an alright card. It means you can't be switch control. You know, if you're up against Gradle, you can kind of just make a monster with this, and it's quite good. But you could also just make Yazi, and then they can't actually target it. But if it's Zing, if it's Kaiju Gradle, then you need to look at your side deck for Massacre of Strix, if I'm completely honest. And then finally 1 Paolu, just to bring up the Zing numbers. Level 1 can be quite useful at times, depends on what you want to go into. Next up, I'll do these 2 together. Zafrano and Zafrexi. I've got these 2 in here just because they've actually been working pretty well for me. So with the Secret of the Zing, it's just good because, you know, your opponent can make certain plays, and if you put it in your Pendulum Zone, you can kind of force your opponent to maybe reconsider a Wavering Eyes and different things like that. I know some people might say, well, that's stupid, why would they do that? Well, you get quite a nice effects and such from this, so it kind of differs, if I'm completely honest. So you know, it's quite good, but obviously it needs to be in your monster zone and such, so it's kind of one or the other. Also, it means that you can OTK a bit with going into 2 Baxia. Kind of depends how you want to do it. But with Zafraxi, it's more for your opponent's turn, being able to level modulate different type of monsters that come out. So I know you might say, well, why are you level modulating? You're not doing that. I know. But what it means, you can turn any one of your other Zings into a tuner, which is actually pretty good, because if you just summon this and then this, you say, I don't know, like a Suwani, I want to change that to a tuner, and then you can go into a level 7. So, you know, there's a lot of different plays you can do with it, and I actually quite like how it's been running in the deck. So keeping it at 1 is quite nice. Going on to the spells, we have a very short spell lineup. We have 3 Zing Path. Card is just great. And, you know, if you draw it at the right time, it's really nice. You don't mind drawing one in early game because you can shuffle a lot back in, but drawing multiples early game is really, really horrible and kind of dead, so you don't want to do that. Next up, we have one of the brand new cards from Bosch. We have 2 Twin Twister. Twin Twister looks awesome, I must say. I really do like the cards. It's in here. You might think, well, you don't really want to discard a lot of your cards. Well, if I'm completely honest, Twin Twister is just really good and better than Mystical Space Typhoon in this deck, so you don't mind discarding like Yang Zings and different stuff like that. So that's why I've got Twin Twister in, and I really do like it. And finally, for the spell lineup, I did say it was a short one. We have the 1 Soul Charge just to make unbreakable fields and such if you are on a bit of a last will. Next up, trap lineup is pretty big. We have 3 Yang Zing Creation, one of the most important trap cards in the deck. Just being able to generate so much advantage, being able to activate in the damage step. And everything like that is just really important. So you never really want to activate this card as they attack, or you know, anything like that, unless you're baited out to have to do it. So then that they can't, like, you know, like Twin Twister or anything like that. Next up is a really interesting card that I've really taken a liking to, and the ban plays on. So if you don't know what this card does, it's a continuous trap card, and its effect is as follows. Neither player can special summon monsters with the same level they control, and neither player can special summon monsters with the same rank as they control. So for example, if you've got a level 4 out, you cannot special summon any level 4s. If you've got a rank 4 out, you cannot special summon any rank 4s. So it's a really interesting card. So the reasoning behind this, I'm going to talk a little bit about this. Originally, I had Lose 1 Turns in. Lose 1 Turn is a really great card. However, if you were on the back foot a little bit and you did have a Lose 1 Turn, your monsters would be negated. You would have to go into a monster that had a oh god, I have completely blanked on what it is. A Big Sheet, obviously, so it's invulnerable to traps, because obviously it's not negating the summon. You can just summon it, it's just unaffected as it hits the field. So Lose 1 Turn, one will switch to defense and negate the effect. However, as I was saying, if I'm on the back foot and I've got Lose 1 Turn out, it's kind of a grind because I am really being affected by my own card effect. Next up, when your opponent has a monsters and they're really turboing through, they'll just summon a switch and be like, okay, well, next turn I'm just going to get the effect. So a lot of the time, it was just really difficult to play with, and it got really cloggy, and I needed a stun type of card. So I did a bit of looking, and the Bands Plays On was the one that I decided to choose from. So important things with this is we don't mind too much if you're a Yang Zing player, because we can choose what level we summon. It's really easy to play around this card and let it incorporate into your deck. And also, choosing the big boss monsters that you summon, you can choose all of this. You can really modulate what you want to do. With your opponent, for example, if we take Pepe, there's a lot of level 7s, a lot of level 4s. And it simply means that if you've got this out, they can't go into Ignista. They can't go into so many different things like Ptolemaeus because they need 3 level 4s. So it really shuts down your opponent. And that's why it's at 3, because it's a really integral part. Even if you just play it, if you don't have anything, just to stop them, it really, really slows them down. So I really love the card. And I'd recommend you testing it as well if you are playing pure Yang Zings. Next up, we have 2 Solemn Strike. The brand new Solemn card is here, and to go along with that, I will dub this the new Solemn Brigades, because that's basically what it is. Yes, common, I know, don't judge me, but these cards are amazing, this format. If you can get your hands on them and you don't mind having a very expensive money card, I realise that I do a lot of budget decks, and I realise that some people might not be able to pay £50 to £80, dollars, whatever, on this card. It's not a problem, but it just means that, you know, it really helps with this deck. So if you can't pay for Solemn Strikes, then have a think of what other cards you do want to play as well. But yeah, the new Solemn Brigade is here to stay for at least a little while, but I do see Solemn Strike getting limited at some point. 2 Mistake. Pepe does a lot of searching, so Mistake is a really good card, and it really doesn't stop this deck apart from 1 card. Next up, 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance. This is very against Pepe, of course. Pepe are the top tier deck, and it is a really good card against them, and just in general it is a pretty good card. If you can get it straight away, just activate it as quickly as possible, because you don't want your opponent to have a chance of playing a spell card. So, you know, for example, you can stop them doing the Miracle Fusion and all this stuff, for, not Miracle Fusion, sorry, you know what I mean, for Gem Knight Fusion, for at least Brilliant Fusion, that's the one. I was there in the end, for at least one turn and such, so it's kind of up to you. But Anti-Spell Fragrance, really good card, and worst case, it's a great card to side out if it doesn't work against the deck you're playing against. One Skill Drain, card's still really good this format, and Skill Drain works really well with this deck, so pretty decent. The one's Torrential Tribute, against Pendulums, it buys you a turn, that's kind of it. And then the Bottomless Trap Hole, because Bottomless is a really solid card this format. Then going on to the extra deck, we have a couple of changes. We have 2 backs here. This card's just amazing. You want to run as many as, well, I'll say as many as possible. 2 is definitely a good number in my opinion, and I think you should really stick to it. I don't know why I was saying as many as possible. My brain is fried. But this is a really great card, being able to spin back and generate advantage, being able to bring back Herald of Arclight if it's in your graveyard that you summoned it correctly. Really, really solid. So, yeah, I really do like it. 2 Yazi. Yazi is also a great card. Really, really solid. It's kind of really annoying against Pepe, though, because it's a good card. You can pop scales, you can scrap dragon stuff, but if they get Ignister out, say goodbye to your Yazi, because that's exactly what they're going to try and do. Being 2/6 isn't too bad, but it does mean that they can Pendulum Summon Mistbird and attack straight over it for an extra 100. So, depending on how you make it, you know, you can make it with a Suwani to get over it, or a Bian so it doesn't die by battle. It's completely down to yourself, but be careful with this card, because you want to make sure you buff it. If you buff it correctly, it's very difficult for a lot of decks to find difficult to get over. Next up, the 1 Trishula Dragon, the Ice Barrier card, still really good, being able to banish a lot of stuff. A couple of times I'll bait out my opponent to using their Mistbird on the field, send it back to the hands, and then summon Trishula so I can try and get rid of it. It's a really nice card, a really nice way to do it. The 1 Beals, again, Ignister sends this back, but against a lot of other decks, it's still pretty good. The 1 Scarlight, just being able to destroy everything 3,000 or less is really solid, and then do damage to them. It's a really, really nice card effect. And Enlightenment Paladin, it's a brand new one that's come out in Breakers of Shadows, and I really like this card. So obviously I'm not using it for its first effect, which is if I use a Pendulum Magician to summon it, then I get to add a spell card back. That's irrelevant in this deck. 1, because I don't play a lot of spell cards, and 2, because I don't have any Magician Pendulums. However, the second effect is really important, because it means that I can Volcasaurus my opponent when I destroy one of their monsters. So I attack into a monster, destroy it by battle, and then inflict damage equal to their attack. So it's really, really good, and especially if I can get it up with an extra 500 with Suwani. Really, really nice. So I have a 3,000 Volcasaurus. So it's just a really good card in general. I think it's nice. It adds a lot of pressure to the opponent if you can really summon it. So yeah, I do like that. 1 Black Rose Dragon. Card's just incredible. 1 Clearwing Synchro Dragon. This card is really important in this format, I feel, especially with Pepe being able to summon up different things like Mist Valley and also the Magician. So it's a really important card for me, and obviously the Odd Eyes. Mephisaurus, I do have some other Pendulums in here, especially Zophraxis with the one that you used to summon this with a Bian. And yeah, it just means that I can take one of my opponent's monsters, so, you know, this is pretty decent. 1 Chambara, this card can do OTKs, Chaiwen and Suwani. With this, double attack, goes 2/5 and then 2/7, you know, it's pretty good, and the left on 1/9. Pretty nice. 1 Armades, just in case I fear anything, you know, you go against BA or whatever, it's just a really solid card. And then finally, as standard, we have the 2 Herald of Arclight, because Herald of Arclight is a really important card. If you can go into this, and I would only ever recommend making this with a Bian and a Chaiwen, because it's kind of unbreakable, because the thought behind it is they can't attack it, so they can't destroy it by battle. So that's pretty important. It just means that you can then pick and choose what you want to negate. If they activate a card effect that would try and get rid of it anyway, sure, okay, I'll just negate you and destroy you, not a problem. It means that they are wasting resources on one card that you can easily summon, and then you can repeatedly summon it later. So overall, the card's really good. But that is it, guys. So I hope you did enjoy the deck profile of my Yang Zings. It's a really fun deck. I was going to take it to Lille, but obviously then Lille was cancelled, unfortunately. So Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to take it to Prague. I am going YCS Prague. I will be playing. I don't know what I'm going to be playing just yet. The struggles of a Yu-Gi-Oh player, I know. But it's definitely not going to be Pepe. It's going to be something that I'm going to be really enjoying and having fun with and be able to play a lot of rounds. But anyway, so that is it. Let me know down in the comment section below what you think of the deck profile. Make sure to give me a like, comment, subscribe. And I should catch you guys later.